Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Nintendo DS. So last time we have basically just managed to wrap things up in terms of Revenge of Meta Knight, even though despite I did have some couple of deaths here and there, but apart from those side of things though, I think it's actually a pretty good run. So today for this episode, and especially noticeable in the next video from Friday, is that we're going to be hit on to Milky Way Wishes. The moon and the sun are fighting and you must settle it. Help us. Comment at Galaxy's End. Collect Copy Essence Deluxe to use copy abilities anytime. Now, as you can see on the actual top screen portion of the game, they've noticed that the difficulty stars is actually now 5 stars. Meaning about the fact that it gets a bit tricky for the most part, but obviously since I've already experienced the Super Nintendo version, so it might not be too hard though, honestly. So even then though, with that being said, let's dive right into Milky Way Wishes, and I suppose we should probably watch the cinematic cutscene here to see what really happens when the sun and moon obviously starts to fight each other. Even then, it almost reminds me of similar story as in Mario Party 6. So, one day in a year, the sun and moon began to fight day and night. Yeah, it's very similar to Mario Party 6 in terms of the actual story, except no stars to able to obtain from. Although, it kind of feels like similar here. Hey! Can you make peace between the sun and moon? You need to ask the giant comet Nuva for help. But first, there is something we must do. To ask Nova, we must gather power from all the stars around us. It will be difficult, Kirby, but you can do it. Which, yeah, we are counting on you. Good luck. Absolutely, because I've already experienced this before, so yeah, with that being said, let's dive right in. And also, this is the last game that actually includes in the original Kirby Superstar compilation game, so is this your first time playing Milky Way Wishes? Already played it before, so there's no point for April to actually point things out. So either way, as you can see, differently from the likes of any other games in this compilation so far, that we can able to explore around onto different planetoid to planetoid. But first, before we get onto the first ever planet, we need to head over to that, you know, that particular familiar shiny star planet, and that what appears to be by the forms of a hidden area. And obviously, that it's pretty easy to miss if you have a first time playing this, so... And then if you somehow manage to able to note the visual thing as far as you might as well notice. And basically, all you can get in here is that, well, assuming if we're able to actually just try to make our way towards the very end of this segment here, we would be able to get ourselves one of the first ever copy ability deluxes. And that, if we enter this door over here, we get ourselves the copy ability, and it might be useful, but at the same time pretty useless in this particular game. So anyway, let's get into the first ever planet, which appears to be Grass Planet, Floria. Well, Floria, which as far as I like to pronounce that correctly. So anyway, so differently from the previous games in terms of Kirby Superstar, as you guys should probably already know this ever since in the my Super Nintendo playthrough of the game, that you notice is the fact that if you manage to able to try to swallow up those enemies and then you would expect to get copy abilities from there, well, turns out you can't, because in order to get copy abilities is that you have to get the Copy Essence Deluxe, and if you manage to obtain one, then you have it for good. So it's kind of similar to the Great Cave Offensive, except the fact that it's all about finding those, you know, every single copy ability essences, deluxes wise. So, and because of that though, I'm also able to actually just to collect them all, even though some planets might able to contain sometimes 3 copy ability deluxes, whilst the other planets they're able to obviously contain 2. So, because again, if you're following through our Let's Play of the original Kirby Superstar ever since in 2018, you probably already know what this actual mode actually plays out to be. So, either way though, and of course the first planet we're going to be hop into is Floria, as you can see on screen. And the main huge emphasis on this particular planet is that, taking notice from, I would say the forest level in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and especially noticeable with, oh wait, the lake? No wait, that was in the other levels or something like that. I know it has been quite a few ages since I actually did manage to play Super Smash Bros. Brawl, just because I'm more into the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate recently, so forgive me about that particular stuff though. But yeah, basically every time you enter one of those little doors, basically the seasons actually change, which it almost reminds me of one of those The Legend of Zelda games, specifically Aquas seasons in a Game Boy Color game. Like the way you have to able to actually change those seasons up, but except the fact that you can able to actually just enter those doors instead of utilizing the most important item if you're trying to traverse through, you know, different seasons ranging from spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So, but either way though, and you're gonna have to use that a lot by the way for the sake of this first planet, just in case if you really want to 100% everything in terms of Milky Way Wishes. Well, best be sure you need to able to do that, because there are certain copy abilities that he does need to acquire to able to actually open up onto that different, well, you know what I mean. And of course the first boss on the first planet, which appears to be by the forms of twin words, self-explanatory for the most part, except the fact that the twin words actually has a different color, which is actually a lot different compared to the forms of how it does in the original counterparts. But, we'll talk more about that until later on, because for now, the next planet we're going to be hopping into is the forms of the water planet known as Aquas, which apparently in the Super Nintendo version / Super Famicom version of the game, obviously it just calls it like Aqualus, which I have no idea why they changed that name specifically, well, for some alterations of certain names of each and every single planet, but either way though, that might be something worth noting for. So yeah, obviously today's day is of course the, I would say today it is the 13th of January today, in this case in 2021, and fortunately though, it's on Wednesday, so it's not on Friday though, because if it's on Friday the 13th, on, in any kind of month, this means we'll may as well able to actually go into the most unlucky days of the whole entire experience. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get into, I would say, until, August, for the sake of this year, we might able to come across something that's very unlucky for that department right there. Which, I'm pretty sure that, we'll let some choice else can able to mention more about it. But for now, let's go ahead and just keep on exploring for the water planet, and, obviously this planet also contains, 3 copy Essence Deluxe, so that we need to able to actually just to find them. So there's not much right to talk about in terms of the forms of how this mode actually plays out, because if you're following through our, you know, Let's Play of Kirby Superstar, the original game, you know exactly how this plays out, except with, you know, with updated visuals, or even in this case, updated graphics. So, yeah, it seems very standard stuff in terms of the common word for able to making it up. So a few things I want to explain about this, potentially speaking, is that one thing I totally forgot to mention about this, ever since enjoying, let's just say on Monday video, that, normally because I was concentrating on the forms of Revenge of Meta Knight. Oh, and by the way, before we get into that, unlike the forms of how it does it on, our Let's Play of Kirby Superstar on the Super Nintendo version, somehow that definitely accidentally managed to bypass this part right there, during the course of Milky Way Wishes, but every now and then, I've simply managed to able to, well, find a way to able to actually find the next copy ability deluxe. Even though that, despite the fact that I have to still need to look up on guides to able to actually just to find, you know, every single of those copy instances deluxe, so that way I weren't able to actually 100% through almost everything in terms of, you know, Milky Way Wishes, so it's all about still exploration, so yeah, that's I can usually think about that for the sake of time, so And also another thing is worth mentioning for this point is the fact that, luckily, if you somehow manage to miss the actual copy ability, if you manage to go ahead and, well, if you complete the actual planet first, and then if you somehow realize that you're missing one of those copy essences deluxe, and, basically, that you weren't able to actually just backtrack for a bit, like this one for instance. If I somehow manage to accidentally get onto the forms of the ending portion of the planet, or the ending portion of the level so far, and you can able to actually backtrack for a bit and find out the copy essence deluxe that you've missed. And then if you obtain one, well, you can able to actually just pause and exit out. So, yeah, that seems very interesting to say the least. So, because of that though, it is better influenced here than the forms of how it does it on the, well, let's just say the majority of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, because you have to, like, well, complete them in order to able to keep your star coins, and especially noticeable for Sonic Advance 3, although you do able to actually keep one of your chows to your liking, but for a special stage key, though, you have to complete the level, which, don't worry, we'll get to that at some point during the spring, because, obviously, since we have done Sonic Advance 1 during last year's summer, and also we've done Sonic Advance 2 during the winter last year, so I figure we might be able to do Sonic Advance 3 until specifically on spring. Just to feel like some different variety when it comes to the forms of season by season kind of stuff. And of course the next boss fight we're going to be fighting against is Fatty Whale here, and this time he's actually in red color. So, yeah, that makes some little bit of a different variety when it comes to forms of different color variations. Even though the actual fight itself is pretty much exactly the same as the forms of how it does it from, let's just say, ever since the forms of the Great Cape Offensive. So, yeah, there's not much else different for this particular boss fight aside from... Oh, Jesus Louise! Oh my god, that was so close. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Paracel Waddle Dee. Able to actually save my life. Even though I'm almost gonna get hit right there as soon as he able to actually just dare touch me. But regardless of such though, thanks to my CPU computer player AI, managed to help me for once. But anyway, enough about that, so let's move on to the next planet, which appears to be down below, and that is the forms of, well, the wind planet known as Skyhigh. Which, not to be confused, as Skyhigh environment from the Super Monkey Ball series. Well, to be more specifically in Super Monkey Ball 1. And, speaking of Super Monkey Ball, actually, recently I managed able to pick up, more PlayStation stuff. To be more specifically, more PS2 stuff, as well as, well, one PSP game in particular, and that's what appears to be... I know it's a bit controversial, but I'll discuss on that later, because for now, we got ourselves another copy Essence Deluxe, and that's what appears to be Jet. And, because of that though, we definitely need to use Jet for the next copy Essence Deluxe, because obviously we need to light up the cannon, and basically we can hop on to... Ah, dang it, I was a bit too late. But thankfully though, you can able to actually retry as many times as you want, so at least we're able to actually accept that, so... Anyways, let's do it for the second attempt, and... boom, there we go. See, it wasn't all that hard, honestly, unlike one of those treasures in the Great Cape Offensive, as far as I like to know. Now, for the most part, the first two copy Essence Deluxe is actually pretty easy to get. The third and final one on this particular planet is actually pretty confusing at times, because whenever we get towards the very end, we have to deal with the forms of a labyrinthy rooms, so... Best assured that we have to keep on exploring for those doors, because otherwise it'll lead you to some confusing rooms. But if you manage to get the right path that you were able to take, you should be okay. But it's just the fact of the matter is though, is that this room can get, well, these set of rooms can get confusing at times. But I'm just saying this right about now. But hopefully we'll able to actually find out as soon as we're able to not accidentally manage to find the boss room. And thankfully this is the correct room, and if we enter this room that's just over here, then we get ourselves the wing ability. So I'll let my AI manage to able to actually just grab it for me. So good news about this though is that I believe much like the Super Nintendo version is that you can either just manage to grab it or you can let your computer AI just grab it for you. So yeah, that seems pretty cool for the most part. And as you can see, we now face off against with Kracko once again, ever since in Spring Breeze. And except this time, he's actually in a different cloud. Which, at first I thought was going to be likely a different color of cloud, but it's to be more specifically like blue as opposed to white. So, at least there's some different variety at least. So, either way though, oh jeez, he's almost down. Come on, be down already. Oh great, my ally just somehow got killed by Kracko. But that's fine, because we've obviously finished him off already. And there we go, that pretty much takes care of the forms of, well, Skyhigh. And I think I might as well do 2 planets left before we end off the video, because although originally that on the, actually I'll get into more about it until later. In fact, you can able to actually go for those planets at any point whenever you wish, but I'm just gonna go in a chronological order. So, here we go, on to Flame Planet, known as Hotbeat. And apparently we got ourselves the Great Cave Offensive music in the background, so I guess that makes it pretty obvious for the sake of danger. But anyway though, I think for this particular planet, as I probably already noticing this from the start though, is that obviously this planet will obviously contain 2 Copy Essence Deluxes. So I think one of them you do need to able to utilize the Invincibility Lollipop, and hopefully we would be able to actually don't have any harm to the actual flame. But thankfully we were able to do that. And then if you bust out this bomb block, then the door itself actually appears. And we can able to get ourselves the Fire Copy Essences Deluxe right here. So now we can able to use fire at any point now. So that's pretty awesome. And get onto this minecart before we get on to the second Copy Essences Deluxe that we need to get. But hopefully this one doesn't give me that much trouble though. But we'll see what happens there. Does this activate anything? Doesn't seem to look like it, but let's try and check on it. Oh, goodness gracious, that was close. I almost thought to myself that we almost gonna get ambushed, but that doesn't seem the case at all, so luckily we would be able to not do that. I believe the next Copy Essence Deluxe, it actually requires I would say fire, but ultimately, we do need to use jet on this one. And, what do I mean by that? Well, you can't just do that, because otherwise you're able to actually just bypass it completely. So instead of that, well, it kind of does like a similar thing for how it does it in one of those treasures in, the Great Cave Offensive during the course of the garden environment. Basically, once again, we need to charge up our jet ability for a second, and then just let the actual minecart... Oh, okay, that'll work. And we can bust out these little breakable blocks if you can either use either the actual, you know, just trying to able to use a projectile like so, or alternatively, you can just charge up and press the jump button until you're able to bust out those blocks. And from here, we need to take on the mini fight against with Bugsy right here, and once you deal with Bugsy, then you should able to get yourselves another copy ability essence, which is of course the well, suplex ability. So at least that should be pretty welcoming. But for now, I'm also able to use fire from now on, because I would like to able to show off the forms of every single copy ability in terms of Milky Way Wishes, but I think it's pretty much exactly the same library of every single copy abilities ever since, well, the entire game itself, and I realized there was a firewall over there. So instead, we have to take on to the bottom route, so we can able to actually just do a thing from here. And great, there's another firewall over there, but luckily we can able to actually just to fly over the actual tallest, you know, firewall right here. And for the most part though, there's not much else I can say. Oh yeah, let's talk about the forms of the Super Monkey Ball games I actually recently got. And because the reason why this is, before we get on to the actual main thing, Because of this, though, one thing I totally forgot to mention about this ever since in, Revenge of Mennonite, playthrough, because of this, though, for the sake of this year, along with, Sonic the Hedgehog, except the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog will able to become 30 years old this year, the Super Monkey Ball franchises will actually be 20 years old this year. And I think, ironically, or surprisingly enough, that the Super Monkey Ball, or specifically Monkey Ball for the arcade, didn't actually came out in the exact same day as in Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. And I was like, okay, that seems interesting to say the least. Like, I'm talking about the forms of the Japanese release of Monkey Ball for the arcade machines and Sonic Adventure 2, original version of Sonic Adventure 2 for the Dreamcast. Usually came out in, I think in 23rd of June in 2001, which is roughly the same day as in, well, Monkey Ball for the arcade. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So it's like a double celebration of any sort between the forms of the Sega company. And as far as Nintendo is concerned, well, obviously we do know The Legend of Zelda is getting the 35th anniversary this year, as well as the Metroid series is also getting its 35th anniversary in there as well. So it's gonna be like 4 anniversary stuff that we are most likely excited for, because I'm very good when it comes to the forms of able to gain those games in particular, and I somehow got hit multiple times right there, I just realized. Oh yeah, another thing I want to point out is that eventually at some point this year as well, the Crash Bandicoot is also getting its 25th anniversary as well, ever since it all started back in 1996 on the PlayStation days. So there was like 5 anniversaries in that particular year, so I was like, I'm pretty dang hyped for that. What else is also getting the forms of the actual anniversary treatment is... Actually, to be honest with you, I have no idea, because that's the only anniversary stuff I can think of. Although, until when it gets to the point until 2023, that Spyro the Dragon will able to get the 25th anniversary and stuff. And next year we'll get Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary at some point next year as well. So, yeah, that's one I'm pointing out. And also similarly, Kirby's getting itself I would say the 30th anniversary at some point next year too. So, yeah, there's a lot of anniversaries coming up. So, yeah, be prepared for that. Well, despite the fact that we still ended up in the forms of, some, you know, disastrous things going on at the moment. But let's not talk about that right now, because, we're just getting on to the positive things, as you know. Alright, so here we go on to the next planet, which appears to be the Cave Planet, and this is actually called, Cavius. And for this particular planet, does contain 3 Copy Essence Deluxe. So, hopefully, we should be able to actually go from here. Oh yeah, and also, as far as you guys should know, that the Pokemon 25th anniversary is happening, so at least we're expected to see something new for the Pokemon series and stuff like that. And most people seem to always talk about the forms of Diamond and Pearl remakes that's about to be coming out for, you know, Nintendo Switch at some point, as well as the actual release date for new Pokemon Snap, which I'm super excited about, because obviously, I think I might be able to do Pokemon Snap Let's Play doing at some point in spring, just in case if eventually that new Pokemon Snap will be approaching. So, if that's to be the case, then I'm extremely hyped about that, because the visuals look amazing for the Switch, and I'm pretty hyped that usually exists. So, ever since during the, well, the halfway portion of 2020, in this case the worst year, so... Anyway, enough about that, and yeah, let's get to the forms of the Super Monkey Ball items that I've got. Let's start with the PlayStation 2 first. Obviously I've got myself Super Monkey Ball Deluxe for the PlayStation 2, despite the fact that out of all these 2 versions of Monkey Ball Deluxe, PS2 version might actually be the weakest version of Monkey Ball Deluxe, because it seems understandable because of lower frame rate, and also, the graphics look a bit in low quality, and also there's a ridiculous amount of load times, and also the analog stick is incredibly bulky for the most part. and especially noticeable whenever you get into the hardest levels throughout, then best assured that you would able to get a lot of trial and error for that. So, and overall, because I don't necessarily mind to get that Monkey Ball Deluxe again, but this time on the PlayStation 2, because I have to be honest here, I had a lot of fun on the PlayStation 2 version, despite, you know, some questionable design choices like lower frame rates, like 30 frames per second, and as well as from that, graphics look a bit low quality, and also the amount of load times is all over the place, and it's still the same game, but even then though, just with low quality textures and all that stuff. Well, aside from the fact that it's actually pretty cheap, so yeah, that might be some consumption, so... And speaking of such though, is that unfortunately I have managed to able to go myself 2 versions on Super Monkey Ball Adventure. Why? Just for curiosity. And plus to my Monkey Ball collection, so... But here's the thing though, I got the PS2 version on Super Monkey Ball Adventure, which while I've played it back during the course of 2011, easily one of the worst versions of the game. Because it has like, well, thankfully the loading times, although the loading times is still a thing, after all. But the most annoying thing of them all though, is that you have to force to deal with the actual turntable kind of stuff, and it's just so agonizingly slow. And also the elevator sequence even though too, that was also very slow. And, also, because I was in the UK version, or the United Kingdom I should say, unfortunately though, I have to go for the compact disc version, because luckily for you guys out there, for those who lived in America, thankfully it's DVD-ROM, which I kinda wish if we have DVD-ROM in our version, but nope, we get the compact disc version. But, surprisingly enough, I actually got myself my PS2 Slim, and that actually works on my compact disc, which is especially noticeable if I try out Sega Superstars for the iToy camera for the PlayStation 2, and I think that's all goes all fine and dandy for my liking. So, but either way though, and I also got the PSP version of Monkey Ball Adventure, just in case I can play it on the go. At least that's the only good thing about it, but aside from that though, frame rate is even much worse than the other two, and also it does have some extra exclusive levels that is only present on the PSP version, but sadly though, you can't able to save your progress during the challenge mode, and I was like, what the hell was that all about? I mean, usually in the other 2 versions, you can save your progress in challenge mode, but aside from that though, that's I honestly trying to go ahead and say this for this point, so... yeah, that's all I can usually discuss upon. So, with that being said, I think, similarly to say, we got the endings up at this point right here. So join me next time on Let's Play Kirby Superstar Ultra, is that we're gonna be hit on to the final 2 planets before we meet up with Galactic Nova, and eventually we're also able to complete it. Wow. Milky Way Wishes, and, should be exciting, even though this video is kind of feels a bit, well, okay and such. So anyway, I'll see you guys until on Friday. Later, fellas.